to have a word with you about last night's dinner.
Yes, my lord.
Is that all you can say? Yes, my lord. After Matthew Crawley, the next Earl of Husband Crawley, Fraser after one spoonful of Mrs. Prattmore's soup. Tasted disgusting. Probably thinks we did it on purpose as he only inherits after my nephew Alfred went down in the Titanic. Must have thought we were trying to poison him. What on earth is going on in the kitchen?
It is Mrs. Prattmore, my lord. Her eyesight is failing and occasional mistakes are made with ingredients.
It's simply not good enough. As well you know, our spectacular and opulent dining room is now out of commission for at least 2 weeks, where we have the carpet and upholstery cleaned and all sorts of unmentionable stains cleaned from the walls and chandeliers. What with, as you well know, we've only got 200 rooms in Downtroddon Abbey, what with all the daughters, servants, senile relatives, general hangers-on. Damn inconvenient to be deprived of such an important room.
Really, I'm very sorry, sir.
Look, tell her to get some spectacles. Do I have to do everything in this place? You need to light a fire under that locked downstairs arson. Did you see that, my dear? I made a joke. You need to light a fire under that locked downstairs arson. Do you get it?
Yes, I get it, dear. The same as I did every other 1,000 times you said it over the last 10 years.
Well, I still think it is funny even after all this time. Don't you agree, Arson?
I never tire of hearing it, my lord.
You see?
Arson is our employee and desperate to keep his job. He'd laugh if you stamped on his foot if you told him to.
Nonsense. Arson, come here. I command you to laugh at us. Is that funny, Arson?
Not in the least, sir.
You see?
For goodness sake, stop being so childish and leave the poor man alone. Don't you think it's time you got back to the reason we were all nearly poisoned last night?
Yes, of course. Stop limping around, Arson. It was only a little stump. Now, where were we?
Mrs. Prattmore and spectacles, my lord.
Yes, as I said, tell her to get some spectacles.
I have done so, sir, but she insists that she cannot afford them on her meagre wages.
She said her wages were meagre? Sack her at once and get a new cook.
I wouldn't do that, my dear. We haven't given her a pay rise in nearly 20 years, so any new cook would cost us twice as much.
Damn. Hadn't thought of that. Hate it when you're right. Very well, I'll think of something. Arson, tell Mrs. Prattmore I wish to see her.
As you wish, my lord.
While we have a moment to ourselves, I need to talk to you about Sybil.
What about Sybil?
She's been spending a lot of time down the garage with the chauffeur Branson.
So, what about it?
I suspect there may be something going on.
Going on? What do you mean?
Well, when I say I think there may be something going on, what I really mean is I think there may be something coming off.
Make up your mind. Why must you always speak in riddles?
I am a titled lady, and I shouldn't be expected to talk openly about delicate matters of a fleshy nature. I can see I'm going to have to spell it out to you. I suspect they're having intimate relations and may elope together. Thick oaf.
Thick oath! May I remind you, I am the Earl of Husband Crawley.
And I am your wife. If it weren't for me, all you'd be able to afford is a 10-bedroom house with a measly couple of acres in Aspley Heath.
Take your point. That's not good.
Exactly. If she runs off with Branston, we'll be in a right pickle.
Branston? Pickle? I see what you mean. Can't get a good chauffeur these days for love nor money.
Good grief, you are a moron. Whether or not we can have a chauffeur isn't the problem. If she runs off with a common man, being called a moron or a thick oaf or a complete and utter cretin will be the least of our worries. scandalised.
Everything all right, my lord?
Yes. What do you want, Arson?
Mrs. Prattmore is here as requested, sir.
Well, show her in then.
Come in, please, Mrs. Prattmore.
You wanted to see me, my lord?
That is her ladyship. His lordship is over there.
You wanted to see me, my lord?
That is his lordship's father's portrait.
Over here, Mrs. Prattmore.
You wanted to see me, my lord?
Yes. Arson here tells me you're having some trouble with your eyesight.
There's nothing wrong with my eyesight, my lord. Arson is quite mistaken.
Mrs. Prattmore just mistook both Lady Husband Crawley and the portrait of my father for myself. So I think we need to admit you have a problem.
All right, my lord. I do have a problem with my eyesight. The doctor says I need spectacles. But on my wages, I cannot afford them. So what am I to do? I tried to get Daisy to help, but the little cow hates me so much, she deliberately misleads me. It was her that told me the sugar was salt.
Now then, Mrs. Prattmore, do not worry about the cost of spectacles. You've been with us a long time. I will pay for it.
Thank you, my lord. I cannot believe how generous you are being.
Nor can I. Is this my husband?
Arson will arrange for an eye test and suitable spectacles to be bought. Won't you, Arson?
Of course, my lord.
And when we know the cost, I will pay the bill.
Thank you, my lord.
And then deduct a small sum from your wages each week at an interest rate of only 10%.
And there my husband returns.
But I couldn't possibly.
Thank me enough. Nonsense. It's the least I can do.
I can hardly live on.
Live on your own, you'll be forever in my debt. Don't be silly.
Forgive me, my lord, but it's quite clear to me that you are a complete and utter.
Saint, let's be honest. It's not the first time I've been told that by a humble and grateful servant. And I'm sure it will not be the last time. No, don't say another word. I can see you are overwhelmed by my generosity. Arson, please show Mrs. Prattmore back to the kitchen.
Of course, sir. This way, Mrs. Prattmore.
Good morning, Mother and Father. Where is Arson off to in a hurry?
Escorting the myopic Mrs. Prattmore back to the kitchen.
Oh, talking of Mrs. Prattmore, last night's soup was disgusting. Poor Matthew thrown up everywhere. Most embarrassing. Yes, most embarrassing, though we can't be sure it was the soup. It might have been your utterly boring and sycophantic conversation, Edith.
What do you mean?
I felt sick every time you opened your mouth.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's so lovely to see you, Cousin Matthew. We are so happy to have you, Cousin Matthew. What's the journey here tiring, Cousin Matthew? Can I wipe your bottom for you, Cousin Matthew?
I do not talk like that. Mother, tell her to stop.
Shut up, both of you. Bad enough just having a male heir to inherit Downtroddon, but the two of you bickering and throwing childish and unladylike insults at each other.
Your father is quite right. Matthew is the next Earl, and if we're not careful, we'll be out on the street when your father dies. I made great sacrifices marrying your father, and it's such a disappointment that we've never had a son. It's entirely his fault.
I beg your pardon. You're a common American before I married you. Plain old Cora from Cincinnati. And your mother hawked you around London to anyone with a title and a grand house when you were barely out of your teens.
Yes, a common American with $1 million from her father's dry goods empire. You couldn't wait to get your hands on.
Well, that $1 million saved the estate.
Let's save it for Cousin Matthew.
Well, there's not much I can do about that now.
Yes, there is. Get him to marry one of our daughters.
I will marry him. Do you think the next heir of Husband Crawley will want to marry a boring dimwit like you? see, and needs a stick to walk.
If you marry him, all you have to look forward to is pushing him around in a wheelchair, wiping his backside, and putting ointment on his hemorrhoids.
It's rectum, not rectum. Rectum, not rectum. You're such a cow. Anyway, if not me, why not Sybil? She's younger than both of us.
Oh, Sybil's far too busy down the garage with Branston, the chauffeur. I think she prefers a bit of rough.
Good grief, am I the only one who didn't know about Sybil and Branston?
Obviously so. But don't worry, I'll sort Branston out. I'll go down to the garage this afternoon and see if I can come up with a way to distract him from Sybil.
Well, see that you do. If he protests, tell him I'll give him a good seeing to.
Oh, don't worry. I'm perfectly capable of giving any man a good seeing to if necessary. This isn't the first time Branston will have had a visit from me when I'm in a mood. Remember that time last night when he was 5 minutes late picking me up from the station? I soon had him on his knees, I can tell you.
No, I don't remember. Anyway, as for you two, why Cousin Matthew would want to marry either of you, it's beyond me. But we can always hope, I suppose. I have some beggars to attend to.
And I need to prepare for my encounter with Branston.
Well, I see Father has a rather low opinion of both of us as marital choice.
Ah, Sybil, we've been seeing a lot of Branston lately, haven't we? Has he been showing you what's under his bonnet? I don't know what you mean.
He knows that I have a keen interest in motor vehicles, so he's just been showing me the mechanics.
The mechanics of what, I wonder?
Pardon?
Oh, ignore Sybil. We were just discussing Cousin Matthew. We decided that if we want to stay here, we have to get him to marry one of us.
Oh, good idea. I would be happy to marry him.
But what about poor Branston?
Oh, good grief, Mary. Branston is okay for a roll in the back of the rolls, but I'm not going to marry him.
Am I the only sister here with her virtue intact?
That's only because no man can stay awake long enough in your company to take it. Listen! I intend to marry Matthew, and the two of you better not get in my way.
Over my dead body.
That can be arranged.
Then it's war.
War it is. He doesn't know what's coming. May the best woman win.
Oh, Mary, I'm glad I called you in the room. I need to have a private word with you. Your sisters aren't about, are they?
No, Granny, they've just gone.
Ah, good. The thing is, I have decided that you need to marry Cousin Matthew.
I agree, Granny. Although I have competition from Edith and Sybil.
Competition? Competition? What? From the cure for insomnia? Or the tart that likes a bit of rough? Get a grip, girl. Then no match for you.
I agree, Granny, but I need to work on my strategy to get him down the aisle.
Well, here is my suggestion. Give him a quickie behind the stables when you next come back from riding, and then claim that you're pregnant.
Granny, that's awful!
What do you mean, awful? How do you think I got your grandfather to marry me?
Granny, you didn't!
I most certainly did. I spent 2 seconds behind the stables with my underwear around my ankles, and 2 months later, I was Lady Husband Roy.
Good grief! Well, I hope I can come up with something more enticing than a quickie behind the stables.
But whatever plan you come up with, make sure you execute it as soon as possible, before those sisters of yours come up with their own plans.
Hang on a minute. I've just had a thought. You were married in 1857, but Father wasn't born until 1859. So you weren't pregnant when you got married?
Well, I knew that, but your grandfather didn't. Believe me, it works every time.
Morning, Cousin Matthew. I do hope you've recovered from the unfortunate incident with the soup.
Of course. I'm just sorry that the dining room is now going to be out of action for so long. It's the beating heart of Downtroddon Abbey, isn't it? Do you know, when I arrived here with my mother just a few days ago, I was almost overcome by the awesome beauty of that magnificent room. I even had a dream about it last night. In my dream, I dreamt that Downtroddon Abbey had been turned into a film or a play or something, and virtually every scene took place in the sumptuous dining room. And now we can't even eat in it. Oh, the irony.
Right, what a fascinating imagination you have. Anyway, are you looking forward to inheriting this whole estate and the enormous wealth it will bring?
Well, of course, but your father has to die first, and he looks in perfect health.
Yes, well, you never know what's round the corner. I mean, look at Cousin Alfred, who was due to inherit before you. 1 minute he was heir to a fortune, and then the next minute he's fish food, having gone down the Titanic.
What a quaint turn of phrase you have, Mary.
Yes, I do, don't I?
Oh, that reminds me. Alfred was given a lovely send-off, but who did the catering for the funeral wake?
Mrs. Prattmore, of course. Why do you ask?
The salad was in appallingly bad taste.
What was wrong with it?
It was the fact that she used iceberg lettuce. Not particularly appropriate for a man who went down on the Titanic.
I suppose not. But anyway, enough of Mrs. Prattmore's culinary skills. How would you like to ride me? I mean, go riding with me tomorrow.
Yes, I'm sure that will be very nice. If you'd like to. Mind you, I should warn you, I'm not much of a horseman.
Oh, hello, Cousin Matthew. How nice to see you.
Oh, very nice to see you. I do hope that you've recovered from last night.
I have already ascertained that, Sybil, so do not bore him anymore.
That's a little rude. Very nice to see you too, Sue. And you too, of course, Edith.
I wonder whether you'd like to come down to the garage with me in the morning to see Uncle Rose. I can arrange to take you.
He's going riding with me in the morning, so he can't.
Well, perhaps you'd like to get up early and come with me before he goes.
We are going early, Sybil, so we'll have to be later.
I'm afraid I'm not really much of an early morning person, so it will have to be after the riding, I'm afraid.
Down. Well, never mind. But don't keep him out too long, Mary. We don't want him to get too tired for our little jaunt, now do we?
Oh, I'm quite fit. I can keep going all day.
Keep going all day. Matthew, I was going to ask you, I'd like me to show you the gardens tomorrow, but it appears you'll be busy.
Yes, busy. Very busy.
So why don't we go this afternoon, after lunch? It's
No.
a secret part of the garden. It's very secluded, where we can have a nice, quiet talk.
No, they can't.
Why not?
Yes, why not? You ought to rest up after being so ill last night. Don't want you get into a hard time to ride tomorrow, do we?
Or our little jaunt.
Oh, I'm feeling much better now. In fact, a walk around the gardens, nice and peaceful and relaxing, probably do you good.
Excellent. Shall we say 2 o'clock then? Look forward to it. I have a few things in mind that might get you interested.
I shall look forward to it. Now, I really must be going. I'll see you at 2, Edith, and I look forward to spending some time tomorrow with you, Mary and Sybil.
Damn! How did that cow manage to get one over us? I don't know. We must be losing our touch. I wish I'd thought about taking him to the secret garden.
Me too. But never mind. We can scupper her plan by turning up at that little rendezvous at the secret garden unannounced.
Good idea. Hold on a minute. We don't have a secret garden. Hell! Oh, shit!
It really is lovely and peaceful here in the garden, Edith, but I don't see what's so secret about it. It's just the same as everywhere else in the grounds.
Oh, that was just a little joke for my sisters. I thought it would stop them from interrupting us if they knew we were somewhere else, so we can be free from the noisy rantings of Mary and Sybil.
I don't think you should be doing that, Edith.
I was just putting you at ease. You seem nervous to me.
I am now.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just that Mary and Sybil are so awful to me.
Yes, I've noticed a little tension between you and your sisters. A bit of sibling rivalry, I think.
Well, Matthew, you don't know them as well as I do. I don't need to gossip, but Mary has quite the reputation in this county.
Reputation? What do you mean?
Fraser says she has rather very loose morals.
Loose morals? She appears so reserved and charming.
Yes, but that is just a way of luring you into her web. Anyone considering marrying her should know that some other boys have, how do I get this down? Been at the sweet shop first.
At the sweet shop first? What? You mean they pushed in front of poor Mary when she was really at the front of the queue and been served before her? If anyone did that to me, I'd give them a right good seeing to.
Oh, Mary certainly gives them a right good seeing to.
No. Oh, then what's the problem? Surely that would make them think twice before trying to push the queue again.
Matthew, I don't think you're quite getting it, unlike Mary.
Then try putting it another way.
That's another expression Mary is familiar with.
I'm sorry, but you've confused me.
Goodness, this is hard work. For Christ's sake, if Mary were to have a husband, he would not be the first to taste the honey.
Taste the honey? I'm sorry, but we're back to square one again.
Oh dear, you know she has been with other men?
What? To parties and other social events, you mean?
Oh yes, of course, but she has also been up to so much more than that.
I still don't understand.
Oh goodness, you know, she has been free with her favours, opened up her cave, let in the one-eyed monster, well, more than several of them, think about it.
Why are you talking in riddles?
Oh, for goodness sake, I give up. What I'm trying to alert you to is that Mary has had sex with half the men in the county.
Good grief! Really? Gee, I always thought she was so chaste and untouched.
Ha! Chased, caught, and been touched more often than a railway carriage door handle.
Dear.
And as for Sybil,
I am shocked, I really am.
and as for Sybil,
What about Sybil? Don't tell me she's been loose with her favours as well.
loose. She's about as loose as an old pair of drawers where the elastic has broken. And what's more, I hear she likes men who get greasy with their tools.
What an awful thought.
I do hope we haven't been boring poor cousin Matthew. You're not nearly
Actually, Edith has been providing me with lots of information that I was totally unaware of.
I wouldn't take anything Edith says as fact. She has some strange notions of what is true and what is not. She probably gets it from her suitor, Lord Rectum. He's a bit senile, you know.
Lord Rectum?
No, she means that. She means Lord Wrexham. It's just Mary's little joke to annoy Edith.
Oh, Lord Wrexham. Is he your suitor, Edith? He must be at least 60.
Oh no, 66, but Edith loves him dearly.
I do not love him. We're really friends who share interests, such as reading, for example.
Well, I like reading myself. Do you like Dickens?
Oh, she likes good Dickens, all right, Cousin Matthew. They are friends with benefits. Or so I've heard, if you know what I mean.
Friends with benefits. No, I've no idea what that means either. Please bear in mind that I'm a middle-class lawyer, and as such, I cannot tolerate it when people appear to be talking in riddles. I'm used to being direct and to the point.
I like being direct and to the point too.
And as for friends with benefits, may I also remind you that in the eyes of the law, a benefit is a payment made by the state, or in certain cases by an insurance company, to somebody entitled to receive it. A benefit cannot simply be passed on to someone by a friend. That would be quite inappropriate, and in many cases, contrary to the law of the land.
Sorry, Cousin Matthew.
Look, to be perfectly frank, I'm beginning to find talking to you young ladies somewhat tiring, rather frustrating, and downright perplexing. More often than not, you don't make any sense at all. I just... Look, I'm sorry, I'm beginning to feel the after effects of last night's meal, so I'm going to jolly well take myself away from all this mayhem and go for a long overdue and well-deserved lie down.
Oh, must you, Cousin Matthew? My horrible sisters are just trying to stir things up between us.
I'm sorry, Edith, but I must leave right now.
Oh, poor cows. Matthew and I would get along so well before you came along.
We're the bossy cows. You're a fine one to talk. We could hear everything you were saying behind the hedge.
Yes, we heard every word.
Then why didn't you interrupt us sooner?
Because we wanted to see how low you would stoop. And now we know. Saying that I like men with greasy tools.
Yes, and I have loose morals.
Well, both of those things are true.
Yes, but we are the upper classes that don't need to give a damn about the truth.
Yes, the truth is for the common people with no money, not for privileged people like us.
Is that why you lied about Lord Wrexham and me?
I didn't lie. Everybody knows you're at it like rabbits. After all, why do you keep inviting me over to his house?
Because he likes my company. There has never been anything improper between us.
She might be telling the truth, Sybil. I suspect Lord Wrexham is comatose within 5 minutes of listening to Edith's voice.
It's Lord Wrexham. I've had enough of you two anyway. I'm off to find Cousin Matthew, put the record straight.
Quick, after them! Sybil,
Come on, we cannot let him get here before us.
Care for a small glass of wine, Mrs. Hughes?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Arson. Why not make it a large one?
Good idea. To his lordship, without whom we wouldn't be drinking this expensive wine.
To his lordship, the silly old fart.
To the silly old fart. Now then, something rather personal, and I really do hope you will say yes.
Good grief. You're not going to ask me to marry you, are you?
Well, certainly not.
Thank God for that. I enjoy our relationship very much. But if I became your wife, well, I'd have to cook and clean for you. And that would definitely be out of the question.
Of course.
Particularly as I know how fussy you are.
No. I was merely going to ask them. As we've developed a rather close relationship over the last 5 years, maybe we could start calling each other by our first names.
Close relationship? Is that what you call what we've been doing over the last few years when no one's around? Oh, Mr. Arson, you do make me smile, amongst other things.
Well, actually, no, I don't like to use the S word. But what do you think about being on first name terms?
Of course. You may call me Dorothy.
And you may call me Lionel.
But your name's Bert.
Yes, I know, but with a surname like Arson, I need all the help I can get, so I prefer to be called Lionel.
Okay, Lionel it is. Now listen, I have some gossip. I overheard the Dowager and Mary discussing how they would trick Mr. Pawley into marrying her.
Oh, yes.
Yes. The Dowager wants Mary to take him behind the stables and arrange for him to put a gun in the oven. If you get my drift, which I'm sure a man of the world like you does. Then claim she's pregnant.
Well, I'm sure. Well, as you of all people should know, there isn't nothing behind the statement. And even if there was, it can hardly lead to a pregnancy.
Oh, for goodness sake, Lionel, get with it. I don't mean literally placing a bun in an oven. I mean, you know, baking the potato. Adding the banana to the fruit salad. Glazing the donuts. Planting the parsnip. Stuffing the muffin. Passing the gravy. Hiding the sausage.
No, you really got me now. A meal like that would take a considerable amount of time to prepare and cook. And I feel unfair to warn you that it would not be to the high standard of fare that we are used to at Downtroddon Abbey. I mean, there are issues to take into consideration, like calorific values. And we would certainly need to achieve a better balance between proteins and carbohydrates.
Good grief. Okay, I'll try to be more specific. I'm talking about what you and I do on the third Sunday of every month, i.e. tonight, you naughty little butler, when we're supposed to be doing the stock taking.
I see. Well, I mean, you've taken stock of virtually everyone else in the county, so why not Mr. Pawley?
Quite. I tell you what, the morals of this family are quite terrible. I called your names, very civil, across the bonnet of the rules with Braxton. But it wasn't the engine he was trying to get started, if you get my drift. Oh, for goodness sake, Lionel! Do I have to spell out everything for you? It wasn't the engine he was trying to get started, if you get my drift.
See? Well, I think she and Mr. Branson are well suited to all each other. I think he's been through half the girls in the village, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. But what about Lady Edith and that decrepit Lord Wrexham? Talk about desperate.
Makes me shudder at the thought of it. I do so enjoy your company and sophisticated conversation, Dorothy.
And I your again.
I've had enough. Will you go and tell them to come into my office, Dorothy?
Certainly, Lionel. Mrs. Prattmore, Daisy, get your backsides in here. Mr. Hudson wants a word with you. Now, stand straight. Both of you.
Since the incident with Mr. Paul, you two have done nothing but argue. It's bad enough that your mistakes led to him chucking up all over the dining room. Now, there's nothing but noise and mayhem coming from the kitchen. What the hell is going on?
It's her fault, Mr. Arson. The cow knows I'm suffering with my eyesight and keeps giving me the wrong ingredients. And now I have to buy spectacles which I can ill afford.
And you call me a cow, you old bag. It's not my fault you're so old and decrepit you can't do your job anymore. It's about time you moved on and let somebody younger like me become the cook.
Oh, you little job thief. You're not so young, you can't be given a good slap, you know.
Oh, yeah, old hag, just you try. Oh, silly old hag. You can't even hit me properly from 12 inches.
Oh. Ow! You stinking turd, I got you then.
Oh, I'll give you stinky turd and shrivel up old has-been.
Mrs. Hughes, would you oblige?
Of course, Mr. Arson.
Now, if I hear any more arguing from you two, I'll leave you in a room for 10 minutes with Mrs. Hughes and you'll be black and blue by the time you come out. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Mr. Arson.
I do love it when you get all violent, Mrs. Hughes. I mean, Dorothy, yes.
I know. Now then, would you like me over the table tonight? Or shall we go to your room?
My room. I've had a rough day. I can do with something soft to lie on.
Oh, I hope you're not referring to my chest, you naughty boy.
Well, I was rather hoping for a special treat tonight.
You mean?
Yes.
You really are a naughty boy. I'll get the pick. I'll see you in your room in 10 minutes.
And we can play a new game while we're spending, if you like.
Oh.
Yeah, I call it sort of upstairs, downstairs. We get to take turns. Well, actually, it would be quicker if I show you. Yeah. By the way, is it my turn to wear the apron?
Oh, good morning, Matthew.
Oh,
Hello, Mary. I thought the meeting at the stables were all right.
I thought I'd meet you on the way so we could have a little chat before we went. You see, I've something rather special planned for the two of us for after we've been on our ride.
What do you mean, something rather special?
Well, as you know, riding gets quite hot and sweaty. So I thought it would be nice if the two of us could cool off together afterwards by going for a swim. We have a fantastic lake here at Downtroddon. It's very secluded, and no one will know we're there. So we'll be able to do absolutely anything we wanted to together. And I mean anything. It'll be just the two of us.
I do enjoy swimming, but I wish you'd told me sooner. Unfortunately, I don't have my swimming things with me.
Oh, Matthew, no need to worry about that. The lake is so private, there's no need to wear anything at all.
sure it's a good idea that we go swimming after all.
Nonsense! It will be a wonderful experience for both of us. By the way, do you know anything about synchronized swimming? It's really starting to catch on.
No.
Don't worry, I will teach you. It will involve us doing a sort of underwater dance together while swimming really close to each other. Gosh, wouldn't it be an absolute scream if we got all tangled up?
Yes, let's discuss it further after our ride. We might be too tired.
I can assure you, I never get tired.
Yes, I still think we should wait until we finished our ride. Last one to the stables is a ninny.
How's your horse, Matthew?
A bit wayward, I think. I'm not used to riding this fast, Mary. Maybe slow down.
Nonsense. Good to get the pulses racing, what? Feel that throbbing between your legs as you bounce up and down.
Well, from where I'm sitting, you certainly seem to be doing more than your fair share of bouncing up and down. And I wouldn't exactly call what I'm experiencing throbbing. It feels more like chafing.
Ooh, be careful and don't put you hurting yourself. We're going swimming afterwards, remember?
How could I forget? Oh, hell, there's a gate coming up.
Yes, don't let it jump.
Oh, I can't stop.
I said jump the gate, not crash into it.
Oh, I think
Are you all right?
I think I've fallen on something, which is now stuck on my bottom.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Actually, I think I may have broken something as well.
Goodness, what has happened to you, Matthew?
He fell off his horse, jumped from a lower field gate.
How on earth did that happen? It's only 3 feet high.
I'm afraid my horse riding skills leave a little bit to be desired.
Well, that will never do if you're going to inherit this title.
Please remember, I was a solicitor in Manchester before I was put into this position, not a member of the country set.
Of course, for you. Arson, could you please take Mr. Paul into his room and half an hour to Larkin?
Oh, I'm sure my ankle's broken, you know. And I've got an unmentionable pain in my backside.
If your ankle was broken, you would not be able to walk. It's probably just a sprain. And no need to bother Arson. I will accompany Cousin Matthew to his room and make sure that he is seen to. In fact, I shall make it my business to ensure he is given a very good seeing to.
I don't think that would be appropriate, Mary. After all, he will need to be undressed and put to bed to await Dr. Larkin.
I can manage that.
Can't undress a man in his own room? Think of your reputation if it got out. It would be ruined. Are you all right, Arson?
Apologies, my lord. A touch of hay fever, I think. I will, of course, help Mr. Pawley to his room and call for Dr. Larkin immediately. Come along, Mr. Pawley. Rest on my shoulder.
Damn!
This is terrible.
You're telling me Granny will kill me?
What's Mama got to do with it?
And nothing.
You're talking about what's happened to Matthew since since he arrived. First we poison him, and then you nearly kill him with a horse ride.
It is just a spray. He'll be all right in a couple of days.
Well, let's hope so. We can't afford to have another heir die. People would think this family's cursed.
Yes. Goodness knows who would crawl out of the woodwork next. Might be some common person we've never heard of.
What, more common than Matthew?
Who knows?
Where is my son? Where is my son? What have you done with him?
Now calm yourself, Cousin Isabel. Matthew is fine. We've sent him to bed and called for Dr. Larkin.
First I hear he's poisoned, and now I hear he's had a horse riding accident.
I know it looks bad, but it could happen to anyone, really.
Really? You've all taken against me and Matthew ever since we first arrived, due to our class.
Nonsense. We quite like Matthew, despite his commonness.
There you are, you see, you admit it.
I don't think statements like that are very helpful, Robert. Now come and sit down. I will order some tea and we'll have a nice friendly chat.
I would like to see my son first.
Of course. Mary, could you escort Cousin Isabel to Matthew's room?
Oh, certainly, Mamma. This way, Cousin Isabel.
I can manage quite all right by myself, thank you.
I don't mind.
I think you've done enough damage for one day, Mary. Thank you.
The Dowager is here, my lord.
Oh, good grief. Can this day get any worse?
I heard that.
Mother, you can't smack me around the ears anymore. I'm 53 and the Earl of Husband Crawley.
Oh, shut up, or I'll pull your trousers down and spank you on the bottom, like I used to when you were a child.
Now that's something I'd like to see.
She never spanked my bottom as a child. She got Nanny to do it.
Not awful.
Not really. I kind of liked it. Oh, awful, awful.
Yes, well, I'm sure I can find a maid here willing to take on the job. Now, what's all this I hear about poor Matthew? Is it true he's broken his leg?
God, news travels quickly around here.
You can't keep secrets from me. How could you be so careless? I'd have thought after the soup incident, you'd have been more careful.
I am not to blame. Mary took him riding, and he fell off his horse trying to jump the gate from the lower field.
That gate is only 3 foot high. Why, I could jump it carrying my walking stick and with arson strapped to my back. In fact, I once had a dream that I did.
What an awful vision.
Apparently he's not very good on a horse. He could barely get his leg over.
Apparently so. Now will you two please leave the room? I wish to talk to Mary alone.
May I remind you, this is our house. I do not take kindly to being asked to leave my own drawing room.
And may I remind you that this was my house before it was yours, before my unfortunate husband died in a tragic accident.
Tragic accident. He shot himself. You can blame him.
What's that supposed to mean?
But let's not go into that now. We have some things to attend to. So let's just allow Mary and Mamma some time together alone.
Oh, I suppose so. Enjoy your chat, you two.
Did you manage to seduce him before the accident?
Unfortunately not.
Oh,
The bull was on the ride back to the stable.
oh, you stupid girl. How can you let this happen?
But how was I supposed to know he's an incompetent horseman? It was just a tiny gate, yet he still managed to crash into it, the idiot.
What I don't understand is why you didn't take advantage of the fact that he was incapacitated.
He made some pathetic excuse about his gluteal muscles.
Wrecked him, you mean?
He tore them to shreds by all accounts.
Well, there is still time. Sneak into his room tonight when everyone else has gone to bed.
What? He has a sprained ankle and a painful backside. I think even someone with my alluring charms would struggle to counteract that.
so shocked. I also slept with Lord Wellham, Sir Richard Horrocks, the Duke of Cornwall, numerous other men, come to think of it, until I realised that your grandfather had more wealth than any of them.
Good grief! Hang on a minute, if grandfather was so wealthy, why was father so strapped for money that he had to marry someone wealthy like mother?
Because I spent it all, you idiot. I like the fine things in life. Being married to your grandfather wasn't one of them. It was a great disappointment to me when he shot himself. He turned my whole life upside down, a selfish rotter. I'm sure he did it just to spite me. And ever since that stupid man Alfred got himself drowned on the Titanic, we've been stuck with Matthew and his mother, which is bad news for me.
I don't understand. Why is Matthew bad news for you?
Because that cow of a mother of his, Isabel, hates my very being. If she has her way, she will make him cut my allowance to the bare bone, and I might be able to afford only 10 or 12 servants, when I need at least 20 to keep up appearances.
Well, aren't you forgetting something? You will have to outlive father before this becomes an issue.
Oh, I don't trust that son of mine. He's a great disappointment to me. First he marries an American, and then he fails to produce a male heir. It would be just like him to die before me and leave me in the hands of Matthew and his mother.
But it still seems highly unlikely to me. Anyway, why does she hate you? You hardly know her.
Oh, it was grandfather's fault, really. He had these odd ideas about staying in touch with the wider family, even those who had no position in life, such as Matthew's grandfather.
No position in life? As I understand it, Matthew's grandfather was a doctor, as was Matthew's father.
Exactly. Someone who had to work for a living. Can you imagine having to get up every day to go to work? How dreadfully common is that?
I think we're getting off the subject here, Granny, so explain why cousin Isabel hates you.
Oh, it was some trivial thing that happened at one of these family gatherings years ago.
Granny, what trivial thing?
Well, I hated going to them, but your grandfather insisted. Well, if you must know, Isabel caught me in a compromising situation with her father.
What? You mean you had sex with Matthew's grandfather as well?
But I was young. I needed entertaining. Your grandfather was so boring. And it was only the once on the desk in the study, while the rest of the family were in the garden. That stupid gal, Isabel, was nosing around the place and blundered in on us.
Nosing around the place? It was her family home, so she was quite entitled to wander wherever she pleased.
No, it wasn't her family home. Your grandfather always insisted they came here, to Downtroddon.
What? You mean this happened in the study here at Downtroddon?
Yes.
On the desk that father uses, I occasionally use to write my letters on.
Yes, of course. What other desk is there in that room?
I don't believe this. I have been writing my letters on the desk on which my future husband's grandfather has had sex with my granny.
Oh, don't be so melodramatic. We were all at it. It was the Victorian era. It was generally boring time. Even Queen Victoria went dressed in black most of the time.
That was because she was in mourning for her husband, Prince Albert, who had died young. Good grief! Most women of our class who are bored go to the theatre or do charity work. They don't have sex with distant relatives.
He wasn't distant that night. Anyway, don't be such a prude. And you're the one to talk. I know all about your misdeeds.
Hello, cousin Violet. Mary. Did I hear the word misdeeds as I entered? What were you talking? The treatment of my son, perhaps, since he first
demeanour was down to a bad case of hemorrhoids.
Very funny. Well, I hope you live to see my son become the next Earl, because then you will be laughing on the other side of your face.
You see how he hates me for no reason?
No reason. No reason. She sees you having sex with her father, and now you accuse her of having a painful anal condition.
Nevertheless, you can see how important it is for me to have her son marry someone whom I can manipulate. I mean, someone who's on my side. She and that son of hers would walk all over Edith or Sybil.
Don't worry, Granny. I have my own reasons for marrying Matthew, and will let nothing stand in my way.
Excellent. Then you need to get the job done as soon as possible.
Might not be riding you for a while.
Nevertheless, make your move at the first opportunity.
Might have to wait till he's up and about.
Oh, Tish. The best time to get at him is when he can't run away. Besides, I have seduced men with far more disabilities than a sprained ankle and a painful backside.
Look, if I have to hear anything more about your conquest, I shall become traumatized. I will deal with Matthew in my own way.
Well, don't dilly-dally. Time is passing. No doubt those sisters of yours will be making their own plans. Good. That was quick, Isabel. I thought you'd gone to see your son, Matthew. Is he dead or something worse?
Nothing worse than death, Granny.
Unless it's being married to your grandfather for 30 years.
He's not dead, though you seem to be trying very hard to bring it about. However, Dr. Larkin has given me his diagnosis. Oh, what did Dr. Larkin say? Well, it's only a minor sprain, and he thinks that the pain in his backside was due to some stinging nettles that have penetrated his riding trousers. He thinks that he should rest for the remainder of the day, and he should be up and about with the aid of a stick tomorrow. No thanks to Mary, of course.
I should think a bit of fresh air would do him good. Mary, why don't you arrange for a short walk around the stables tomorrow?
Well, it would have to be a very short walk, but Dr. Larkin says he must take the weight off it as much as possible.
Yeah, of course, Cousin Isabel.
Well, I hope you'll take good care of him, Mary. He is my only child, you know. Don't worry, I will take very good care of him.
Dr. Larkin is such a lovely man, don't you think, Cousin Isabel? I think he rather admires you. He was talking about you in such glowing terms.
Oh, was he? I didn't think he'd noticed me since I first arrived.
Of course he noticed you, hadn't he? Failed not to. And you a widow and him a widower? Such a shame when people lose their partners so young. Why don't you invite him for tea?
Oh, do you think so? Seems a little bit forward.
Nonsense. An esteemed woman such as yourself, and also a former doctor's wife, I should imagine you would welcome the stimulating conversation.
I suppose so.
Well, make haste. Why don't you go and find him before you leave? I should think he's with Robert, giving him an update on the map.
Well, maybe I will.
Make haste before he leaves.
Yes. What was all that about? I've never heard Dr. Larkin say anything about Cousin Isabel.
I know, but at my age I do like to create a little bit of mischief. And who knows, perhaps it will distract her long enough to keep her off my back, if only temporarily.
Granny, you are terrible.
You just realise that, Mary? I am surprised.
Most people knock before entering a room.
Not when they own the house the room is in, they don't. May I now return to my drawing room?
Very well, I shall now return home. Unless, of course, I am to be invited to stay for dinner.
Of course you are, Granny, Mother.
I suppose so.
How kind. I will go and take some fresh air to build up my appetite.
I hope she's not leading you astray.
Of course not. What would make you
conniving old bat, that's right. And let's face it, your grandfather could be so desperate to get away from her, he shot himself.
Mother, how could you say such a thing?
We Americans tell it like it is.
I just passed Mother. She's been invited for dinner. May I ask why?
Mary invited her, not me.
What did you do that for? You know she gives me indigestion just by being at the same table as me.
Because she is my granny, and she is lonely.
There is a reason she is lonely. It's because she is a conniving old bat.
That's what I said.
Well, for once you're right. Where's Arson? I need a drink and it needs to be a large one.
The decanter and glasses are over there. Get yourself one.
I am the Earl of Osborne Crawley. I do not pour myself drinks. Arson, where have you been?
I've been down to the kitchen, my lord, to inform Mrs. Prattmore that the Dowager will be staying for dinner.
Well, knowing that, having anticipated I would need a lot stiff drink and been immediately ready to serve it. Instead, I've had to wait an extraordinarily long time for you to do the most important job I pay you for.
Come now, Father. You have only been waiting here for a few minutes.
Mary, I will thank you not to contradict me in front of the servants. Now,
That is my cue to leave.
Arson, pour me a whiskey and be quick about it. New blend of whiskey, Arson. It's a little different to the one I had yesterday.
Yes, my lord. Yes, it's very popular among the upper classes, I believe. And as you're aware, I have a very keen ear for this sort of information. I believe it has something to do with the waxing process involving the cordial or something like that. So I thought we should have some in the cellar.
No, I think I prefer this to the original blend.
I can arrange a plentiful supply if it pleases my lord. And I may even be able to offer some, what shall we call them, more wider ranging varieties.
Sounds splendid. But first I'll have another one of these.
As you wish, my lord.
You can really see why this is becoming so popular.
Will that be all, my lord? I only have some other duties that need my attention.
I suppose so. But do not be long. I may need another drink before soon. That man is getting ideas above his station. Changing my whiskey without consulting me first.
You told me that the drinks ordering was beneath you, so you delegated it to Arson.
No, so I did. Well, I hate to admit it, I do like what he has chosen. By the way, did you sort out that Baron of Branston, my dear?
Of course, his interest in Sybil has ceased to be.
Good, I trust you did not protest too much.
Oh no. I have my ways of persuasion.
accident yesterday?
Hardly a little accident, Robert. I could have been killed. Mary had me riding too fast.
Do apologise, Matthew. See, the problem with Mary is that once she feels the pounding of hot flesh underneath her, she loses all sight of reason.
Yes, so I've heard from Edith.
Well, luckily you're not badly injured. Please sit down. Would you like a drink?
Oh, yes, please.
Robert, could you get a drink?
Servants' orderings, not earls.
But there are no servants here, so you will have to oblige.
Vince, what are you doing here? You've already dressed me for the day.
Mr. Arson sent me, my lord, as he's been unavoidably detained. He thought you might need a drink. He mentioned as you liked the last one so much, you might wish to try another of his new variations. I don't remember the exact word, but it's something about having a good nose.
Sounds splendid. Almost appalling large ones at once.
Of course, my lord.
Bates here is my valet. He used to be a batman in the army. He is a master at getting me dressed.
I see. So it appears you are a master, Bates.
Yes, if his lordship should say so, I guess it must be true, Mr. Pawley.
He is particularly good with buttons. There isn't a button he can't get for those little, holy things in my clothes.
Holy things in your clothes. You mean buttonholes?
Buttonholes! Did you hear that, Bates? Buttonholes! Who would have thought it?
Yes, I was aware of that, my lord. Being a batman in the army for 10 years, one does acquire a few pieces of useful information. For example, you know those short bits of stringy stuff you tie in a bow to stop your shoes from falling off?
Yes.
They're called shoelaces.
Oh, certainly keeping that particular talent for art, haven't you? Anyway, why are you limping and walking with that curved, piece of hardwood? Have you injured yourself somehow?
Not really, my lord. I got the idea from Mr. Pawley. I think having a walking stick, as those of us in the know call him, adds to a man's masculinity and gives him a rugged, tough look.
God, do you really think so, Bates?
I do so, sir. Now, if you excuse me, I must get back. Mr. Arson has asked me to look in on how the clean-up activities are progressing in the dining room.
Good morning, Matthew. Time for a walk around the yard.
Walk around the garden.
And then maybe a short stroll with me down the garage to see if you will voice.
Terribly sorry, but I've been for a walk already.
What?
Yeah. I was hobbling around outside and I came across your chauffeur, Branston.
Branston?
Yes, Branston. Charming chap. And rather good looking, if I may say so. Not to mention extremely interesting. After the last couple of traumatic days, I decided to go for a stroll and clear my mind. Anyway, I came across Branston and he offered to show me the rolls. Had a nice man-to-man chat with him while I was looking over the engine. In fact, he's taken me down the pub this evening for a pint.
Husband Crawley, haven't seen in the pub with a common chauffeur.
Well, I'm not the owner yet, so I don't see it as a problem. Every day I spend around here appears to be fraught with accidents at the moment, so a trip out will do me good.
Matthew! Mother, Father, do something.
What do you expect me to do?
Well, tell Branston he can't. You are his employer after all.
Leave Branston to me. I have ways of persuading him.
interesting. Don't you think so?
Well, yes, I suppose he is. Although slightly odd to hear a man give such compliments. I'm quite all right. You seem a little tense to me.
Perfectly well, thank you. I like to get out with other men sometimes. I see no harm in one man admiring the virtues of another. It was quite common in my public school.
Sounds slightly odd to me. Anyway, which pub did you go to?
The Anchor.
Oh, the one in Ashby Guys.
Yes, nice village. Although there's an awfully strange large white circle painted in the middle of it for some reason I can't fathom. Branston seems to think it's to help manage the flow of traffic. Seems ludicrous to me. I mean, if you were coming down the hill from Woden's Hands, you want to turn right into the village hall, you'd virtually have to be double jointed. And in any case, the few bits of traffic I saw drove straight over it, making a complete waste of time.
Oh, how interesting. Anyway, as I said, did you have a nice time?
Yes, lovely. Apart from the two drunken ruffians came into the pub and started causing trouble.
Oh, no. Do you know who they were?
No, I didn't know, but Branston did. Apparently their names were Fraser, Pearson and Robert Lindsay. They normally drink in the Royal Oak up on the heath, but for some reason they staggered down to the Anchor. Common. Loungy. Yeah. Very undesirable. They were barely string two words together and were almost certainly illiterate. One of them was rude to me, but Branston threw them both out of the pub. I have to say, he's a very strong chap.
No, he certainly is. Oh, poor you to have such common, frightful people treat you like this. It's a good job Branston was there, really. Now, anyway, I think you look a little worse for wear, and I think it might be better if I loosen your clothes a little.
No. I don't think it's appropriate for you to interfere with my clothing. As the future Earl of his bum Sawley, has been called Husband Crawley, I must maintain some decorum.
Oh, nonsense. Come on, let's get you more comfortable.
No, that's enough. No, I'm off to bed now, Sybil.
Well, can I come with you? I mean, shall I help you upstairs?
Certainly not. No, I can manage that.
You're Master Bates, aren't you?
Good morning, Mr. Paulie. And if you don't mind me saying so, you're looking rather fragile this morning. And, by the way, I prefer simply to be known as Bates. Although, my best friends do call me Batesy.
Bates. That's a good nickname. I like. Where have you been? I was hoping we'd get an opportunity to chat again.
Well, I've been to the dining room, if you must know.
I really like your big collar.
Thank you.
But why are you wearing it?
Well, I like how it feels against my chin.
And why do you spend so much time in the dining room? You're supposed to be the valet.
I like to have an air of mystery about me.
Oh. Well, it seems a little odd to me that, well, we all have our little foibles. Hey, I must say again how flattered I was last night when you told Lord Husband Crawley why you were using a walking stick. Us rough and tough men must stick together, eh? I think you felt a little bit left out of all these mobility aid shenanigans.
Us rough and tough men must stick together. Very amusing, sir. However, from what I hear, he'll even feel a lot more left out than that if he doesn't take a bit more care of his investments.
Really? So he's got financial troubles as well. What's it all about? Do tell all, Batesy. It's all right if I call you Batesy now, isn't it?
No, not really, sir. As for his Earl, I hear he's heading for bankruptcy. He hasn't got a clue what's going on in the world. I heard him telling someone the other day, one day telephones are going to be so popular that everyone's going to have one. Even common people. I heard him saying that it's going to be possible to take a telephone with you outside and call someone from wherever you happen to be.
But surely everybody would get tangled up in all the wiring.
You see it, I see it, everyone sees it, but he's oblivious. There's more chance of a man landing on the moon, or a woman becoming Prime Minister.
See, if a woman really wanted to become Prime Minister, and let's face it, why should such an absurd thought even enter her pretty little head? She'd have serious problems. I mean, she wouldn't be able to vote for herself or get other women to vote for her because women aren't allowed to vote. And as for a moon landing, well, I think the priority ought to be to determine which type of cheese it's made of.
Thank you for that, sir. You're quite the scientist.
Anyway, I was going to say, from what you've told me, it's quite clear that the last thing I should be doing is getting hitched to one of the Earl's awful daughters. By the sounds of it, there'll be nothing left for me to inherit anyway once the old loony pops off. Thanks, Macy.
Don't mention it, sir. But there is one other thing.
What's that, Macy?
Due to our different social class, we can never be close friends, so calling me Bates is not quite appropriate in the context of our relationship. I would prefer Bates.
Oh, okay.
I do so, sir. Now, I must get back to the kitchen as one of the girls has offered to rub liniment on my poorly leg.
But your leg isn't really poor, is it?
No, sir, but they don't know that, and well, Mrs. Prattmore's eyesight's so poor you can put anything in her hands and ask her to rub it, and she'll be none the wiser.
Do you think that that kind of deception is right and proper, mate?
Probably not, sir. But if you keep it to yourself, I may reconsider you calling me Batesy.
It's a deal, Batesy, old chum.
Hello, Matthew. I'm glad I caught you. Hello, Bates.
Hello, my lady. I was just about to go to the kitchen where there's an urgent matter that needs my attention. Do I have yours and Mr. Pawley's permission to leave?
Of course. Matthew and I will be perfectly fine together, won't we, Matthew?
I don't think Bates should leave us unattended. I might need something.
Nonsense. Whatever your needs may be, I can assure you I will be more than capable of supplying them. You may go, Bates.
Thank you, my lady.
Oh, how terribly clumsy of me! And seeing as I'm here, it seems a shame to waste such a perfect opportunity. Let's have a passionate kiss, and then we can announce our engagement to the rest of my family.
What are you doing, Mary? Supposing somebody should come in. And even if I was considering asking you to marry me, this would not be an appropriate way to conduct a courtship.
Don't be foolish, Matthew. Oh, I say, what's that pressing into me?
It's my walking stick. You're sitting on it.
I see what you mean. Mary, what are you up to? We have a sleepwalk out an afternoon. Terribly unchivalrous of you, Matthew.
I know, I'm sorry, Mary. I think I'm going to be going. I need to lie down.
I must you. Why did you come with me? You walked up there on it. That's there. No, don't repeat it, Matthew. Probably the light is not for quiet and peaceful there. Don't listen, Matthew. It's me company upstairs.
Sorry, not.
What are you doing to us?
No, Mother. What is going on? Just got them all fighting over Matthew. When I came in, they all had hold of him. Mary even had him in a headlock.
Good grief. I hope he doesn't run off.
Quite. Anyway, where have you been? I haven't seen you all morning.
Oh, just down at the garage checking on Branston.
What? I thought you'd sorted them out.
Well, I have, but it's important for me to keep on top of him to make sure he doesn't lapse into his old ways.
I suppose so.
In fact, actually, there's no suppose about it. You should be grateful I take such a keen interest in the morals of our daughters and servants.
Yes, of course.
In fact, I think I might go back down there now.
But you've only just come from there.
Exactly, so he won't be expecting me so soon, will he? It's good for him to know that I can demand servicing any time. I mean, service.
Hard of manure you left me with, Father, when you shot yourself. Would have been better if you'd shot my ma instead.
I've
Well, we haven't seen much of Matthew these past few weeks. He's either limping around with Bates, down the pub with that bounder Branston. Seems to prefer the company of servants to us. Goodness knows what he's going to do when he inherits.
Never mind all that. I have something very important to tell you.
Oh, you haven't overspent on your allowance again, have you? Told you we need to be careful of our spending until one of our daughters secures Matthew's promise to marry.
Don't be so stupid. It's much more important than that. It affects us all.
Oh, good grief. What is it?
I'm pregnant.
What? How?
The usual way, you owe.
We haven't, in ages.
Yes, we have.
When?
A couple of months ago when you came back from your army reunion.
Are you sure? I know I had a lot to drink that night, but I'd like to think I'd remember something like that.
Obviously not. You came to my room and ravished me again and again. You were quite the stuff.
Really? Quite the study. Fancy that. I'll be one in the eye for my mum.
What's Mama got to do with it? Anyway, have you forgotten? If it's a boy, he will inherit and not Matthew.
Yes, of course. Quite the stud, eh? Yeah, like in the old book, yeah.
Oh, stop bloody gloating and get Matthew and the girls in here.
Awesome. Perfect timing. Tell our daughters and Mr. Paulie we need an urgent discussion.
Of course, sir.
Now, this will be a big surprise to everyone, so we need to be very gentle in the delivery, not go blundering in the way you usually do.
I never blunder my way in.
You always do. Remember when Arson's mother died, I asked you to give him some kind words? All you could manage was, "Oh, Arson, I hear your mother's died. Oh well, worse things happen at sea, fetch me a large whiskey."
He is a servant. He would be terribly embarrassed if I showed him any real sympathy. And so would I, for that matter.
Arson tells us he has some urgent news.
Yes. What are you doing here, Mama?
Well, I came to talk to Mary and I heard that something urgent was up. So I thought I'd better come along and see what trouble you've managed to get yourself into again.
I'm glad you're here, because it is good news for a change. Brace yourselves, girls. Your mother is pregnant. How about that? It's like your old papa yet.
What?
Yes, and after my army reunion, apparently, I am quite the stud.
Ugh! You should warn us before using language like stud in front of us while referring to yourself. Yes, at least give us time to cover our ears.
Well, I don't suppose Matthew wants to marry any of us now.
Quite frankly, I wasn't going to marry any of you anyway. Personally, I think you're a bunch of hoity-toity, self-important, priggish, pompous, deluded, selfish snobs.
How dare you speak to my daughters like that? Well, not the Earl now, and may never be. But given my amazing sexual class, I can be twins or triplets, and thus increase the odds of a male heir.
Quite frankly, I don't want to be here anyway. Since I've been here, I've been poisoned by your cook, molested by Edith in the garden, nearly killed by Mary whilst horse riding, and assaulted by Sybil whilst intoxicated. And to make matters worse, I was then attacked by all three of your daughters at the same time. And then, just to put the icing on the cake, I then find out that your mother seduced my grandfather on the desk in your study.
That's a lie.
Of course, Mama would never do such a thing.
No, what I mean is, he didn't need seducing. He was a very unwilling participant.
What?
And another thing, you've had three daughters. The odds are that in the unlikely event having twins or triplets, the chances are that they'll all be girls. So, up yours. In any case, I'm off to America next week. I need a break from all of you. You can let me know when the baby or babies are born. And if I'm still to inherit, I'll then decide if I want to come back or not.
America? You don't know anybody there.
I don't know. But the person I'll be travelling with does.
You mean you've met someone? Who is she?
It's not a she, but a he.
What?
Arson, will you send my friend?
Of course, sir.
Yes, Branston. Branston's brother emigrated from Ireland to California a couple of years ago and has a thriving business providing services to the stars of the Hollywood film industry. He needs a chauffeur and a legal advisor, so we're going out to join him.
Fraser, you can't go.
Why ever not?
Well, who's going to finish my education on motor vehicles?
That's something that ladies should be learning about anyway.
Now, Preston, listen to me. This is really bad timing. I think you should stay at least until the baby's born.
Nonsense! We'll be rubbing noses with some of the most, well, hopefully more than just noses, with some of the most glamorous actors and actresses in the world. And when the word gets out about how good Batesy is at tying people's shoes and doing up people's buttons, we think we can get him a top job in the costume department. Branston's brother thinks that he can even land himself a top job on the silver screen. Apparently there's a growing market for well-dressed Englishmen who can walk funny and swing a walking stick.
I really do think you should stay, at least until the baby's born.
Don't talk rubbish, Cora. What on earth does the baby being born have to do with where Branston goes?
Well, with another person in the house, we'll need a good chauffeur on board.
Don't talk rubbish. Bit early to be thinking baby brain, isn't it? Matthew, Branston, if you made up your minds, then so be it.
At last, some words of sanity from Robert. It was the first time, I suppose.
Thank you, Matthew.
I don't think that was meant as a compliment, Papa.
Mary, I think I know a compliment when I hear it.
Well, on that note, Branston and I will bid you our leave. We've lots of things to organise for our trip. Oh, and by the way, from what I hear, if you don't sort out your finances, there'll be nothing left for either the baby or me to inherit anyway.
What do you mean, sort out your finances? My family is not bailing you out again.
Nothing to worry about, my dear. Just a few investments, not performing as well as I would have liked.
What investments?
Well, I may have got a little carried away with a scheme to develop powdered water.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Look, I'm not completely stupid. I managed to dodge a few bullets along the way. For example, there's someone wanted to invest in an awful-looking fizzy drink. What was it called? Something to do with koalas. Yes, Coca-Cola.
I've heard of that. It's becoming very popular in the States.
You Americans will drink anything. You will never catch on here. My words. There was some other fool who tried to convince me there were huge profits to be made selling bags of little fried slices of fried potatoes. I think they called them crisps. Oh, they would break as soon as you took them in your mouth. Don't even get me started on the noise as you ate them.
Well, it's good to know your business brain is really sharpened up. I can't go with my family again. Mum would be furious if they even hinted at it.
Yes, it really has sharpened up. There was even some chap trying to get me to invest in a board game.
turkey is commendable.
Yes, don't worry. Yes, turkeys, horrible goblin things, they'll be extinct before long. Don't worry, what I want to do is assure you that we're about to make an absolute fortune thanks to my razor-sharp business brain. Now, bearing in mind the close relationship between Britain and Germany, I've sunk the remainder of the downtrodden fortune into an Anglo-German business venture. It is my firm opinion that we can enjoy many decades of friendly cooperation with the Germans and untold levels of wealth and happiness.
The papers are saying there may be a war coming. A war in which Britain and Germany would be on opposite sides.
Nonsense. The papers are just scaremoney. Kaiser Wilhelm's grandmother was Queen Victoria, for goodness sake. No, the idea that Britain and Germany would ever go to war with each other is completely and utterly ridiculous. I can assure you, this investment will guarantee the future of Downtroddon for many years to come.
Well, thank you for your reassurances, Robert.
You're welcome and thank
Well, this business with Branson and Abbey has a rum do, I must say.
Oh, don't worry, Edith. There's always Lord Rectum to fall back on.
It's not Wrexham!
Just past the nanny on the stairs. She's taking the baby up to sleep. Can't believe it's been a year since all that business with Matthew. Fancy us having a baby boy as well. Old Mama saying I didn't have it in me.
It's funny how things turn out, isn't it?
You know, he reminds me of someone though, but I can't think who.
Oh, I think it's a bit early to be saying who he looks like. He just has a cute baby face.
I suppose so.
Your painting has arrived, my lady.
Oh, how exciting!
Don't you think it's a bit early to be getting a portrait of us, sadly? It's only 3 months old, after all.
Nonsense. We've waited so long to have a son. It's important to get his likeness as soon as possible.
You know, definitely reminds me of someone, but I just can't put my finger on it.